Because I knew in the end, people will get fed up and all these young feel nothing is ever happening. So of course they're going to get frustrated.
27 years after her death, Princess Diana's secrets resurfaced in the most unexpected way, forcing King Charles to confront a past he had long managed with careful discretion. On a Monday morning in late November 2024, archivists overseeing the transfer of documents from Kensington Palace to a secure storage facility made a startling discovery. Behind a false panel in what had once been Diana's private office, they found a locked metal box containing files long presumed destroyed in the aftermath of her death in August 1997. The find was accidental, the result of routine maintenance and renovation assessments in a room long sealed for its historical sensitivity. Once uncovered, the box was swiftly transported under armed guard to Buckingham Palace, where it was opened in the presence of the King's private secretary, legal advisors, and security personnel. Inside were dozens of documents spanning Diana's final 3 years, from her separation from Charles to weeks before her tragic death in Paris. Operational files, security briefings, legal memoranda, transcripts of recorded conversations, and handwritten notes revealing the extraordinary complexity of her last years. Some were explicitly classified and should have been destroyed, while others appeared to be Diana's personal copies of documents she was never meant to possess. King Charles was informed immediately, reportedly reacting with visible distress and grim resignation. For nearly 3 decades, he had navigated the delicate balance of honoring Diana's legacy while protecting the monarchy and his own reputation, and now the past had returned unexpectedly. His initial instinct was to seal or even destroy the files, but legal advisors quickly intervened. The discovery was already too widely known among archivists, contractors, security personnel, and palace officials to contain. Attempting suppression would only risk leaks and speculation, far more damaging than any controlled disclosure. For 3 days, Buckingham Palace was consumed by emergency meetings, consulting constitutional experts, historians specializing in Diana's years, and public relations strategists mapping out every potential scenario. King Charles wrestled with a decision that would define this early phase of his reign: maintain the decades-long silence that had shielded him, or take the unprecedented step of speaking publicly. On Thursday evening, a carefully crafted statement was released, brief by royal standards, but painstakingly reviewed by advisors. Charles acknowledged the discovery of the files, confirmed their sensitive content concerning Diana's final years, and expressed his intention to ensure that anything of historical significance would be properly archived and eventually accessible to researchers. Most notably, he addressed questions regarding his own conduct during the breakdown of their marriage, marking a radical departure from royal protocol. Traditionally, the monarchy has relied on mystique, maintaining distance between the institution and the messy truths of personal lives. By admitting the existence and content of these files, Charles risked either modernizing the monarchy's relationship with truth or undermining the narratives that had sustained it. Public reaction was immediate and divided. Some praised the king for transparency and honesty, while others dismissed the statement as insufficient, a reluctant acknowledgement forced by circumstance. Diana's admirers felt vindicated, their long-held suspicions seemingly confirmed, while defenders argued that Charles demonstrated maturity and a willingness to confront difficult history. To grasp the file's significance, one must consider the context in which they were created. By 1994, Diana's marriage to Charles had effectively ended 2 years prior, following the publication of Andrew Morton's biography, which had exposed the couple's dysfunction with Diana's covert cooperation. The final years of her life were a delicate dance between public image and private reality. She was both the world's most photographed woman and deeply isolated within royal structures. After losing her HR designation upon her divorce in August 1996, Diana experienced both liberation and rejection. Free from palace constraints, but stripped of institutional protection, she recognized that documentation was power and personal defense. Private conversations could be denied, verbal agreements forgotten, and her word alone carried little weight against palace authority. She meticulously recorded meetings, calls, interactions with Charles and staff, concerns for her safety, and her treatment within the household. While some documentation, such as the voice tapes with Coach Peter Setline and her cooperation with Morton, had surfaced previously, the newly discovered files reveal that Diana's record-keeping was far more extensive and systematic than previously known. Particularly in the year following her divorce, she navigated new relationships, explored humanitarian work, and grew increasingly vigilant about her personal security and the palace's control over her public image. Even after her divorce, Diana remained meticulous in documenting her life, including her relationship with Dodi Fayed, revealing both genuine affection and an acute awareness that their romance was being exploited by outside parties. She seemed to recognize that her relationship with the son of the controversial Egyptian businessman Mohammed al-Fayed would provoke scandal precisely because it defied establishment expectations. The files also reveal the depth of her humanitarian efforts, particularly her campaigns against landmines in Angola and Bosnia, which were politically charged and put her at odds with British defense policy and arms manufacturers. Diana appeared to welcome the controversy as a means of asserting independence and relevance beyond her royal identity. Security concerns feature prominently. She maintained a complex relationship with her protection officers, resenting their presence at times, but relying on them for insight into palace operations, and some documents indicate she had access to briefings she was not meant to see, raising questions about sources and intent. Legal materials regarding her divorce, custody of William and Harry, and post-divorce privileges show the acrimony and low-level power struggles between palace officials and her representatives, including disputes over titles, property access, and official representation. Personal letters convey Diana's ongoing concern for her sons, striving to shield them from the institutional pressures that had harmed her, and her frustration when efforts to create normalcy were thwarted by protocol or Charles's differing parenting philosophy. The collection itself is extensive and highly organized, spanning hundreds of pages from 1994 through July 1997, meticulously dated, annotated in Diana's handwriting, and fully indexed. Among the most explosive materials are transcripts of conversations she recorded or had recorded on her behalf, including phone calls with palace officials, lawyer meetings, and discussions with advisors. These transcripts expose palace strategies to marginalize Diana, limit her public profile, and protect the institution at her expense. One particularly damning recording details senior courtiers discussing how to exploit her mental health struggles to undermine her credibility, confirming claims she had been manipulated and gaslit. Security reports further underscore the surveillance and control imposed on her, demonstrating a systematic effort to contain her influence while she sought autonomy and protection for herself and her children. The newly discovered files, apparently obtained with the cooperation of sympathetic protection officers, reveal an extraordinary level of surveillance on Diana's movements, relationships, and communications, suggesting that even post-divorce she was treated more as a potential threat than as a family member. Reports include assessments of her romantic relationships and speculation about her intentions, while legal memoranda detail contentious divorce negotiations, annotated drafts showing what Diana sought versus what she received, and correspondence framing the divorce as strategic warfare. Handwritten notes offer an intimate glimpse into her state of mind. She writes of evading photographers, manipulating media, loving her sons while navigating Charles's parenting, and documenting her humanitarian work amidst relentless public scrutiny. Unsigned or unsent drafts of letters to Charles, the Queen, and other figures reveal attempts at reconciliation or peaceful coexistence. The files also chronicle palace interference, leaked information, blocked opportunities, and isolation efforts supported by contemporaneous media reports. Financial records indicate disputes over money and control, with evidence of conditional payments and denied support. Medical documentation raises privacy concerns, including therapy notes and records suggesting palace officials may have used her health to question her stability. Most striking are Diana's notes expressing fears for her safety concerns about car accidents, potential harm, and attempts to silence her written months before her fatal Paris accident, reigniting long-standing conspiracy theories. In response, King Charles issued a statement on December 5, 2024, deliberately timed to command evening news attention. Delivered in his own voice rather than a traditional palace spokesman's, he acknowledged the discovery of the files, confirmed their sensitive contents, and signaled his intention to preserve their historical significance while addressing questions about his past conduct. King Charles's confirmation of the authenticity of Diana's files marked a historic moment. By acknowledging their validity, he accepted that the contents painful, sensitive, and revealing would have to be confronted openly. In a remarkable departure from royal protocol, Charles issued a carefully worded apology, acknowledging mistakes and the suffering Diana endured, without claiming full responsibility or blaming himself alone. He expressed regret that she felt unsafe and unsupported, framed within the context of systemic pressures and institutional dysfunction rather than personal malice. Significantly, Charles addressed his sons, William and Harry, acknowledging the file's likely emotional impact and expressing hope they would help them understand their parents' complicated history. He announced a team of historians and archivists would review the documents, balancing transparency with privacy, and promised his sons access and consultation regarding any future publication. He also directly countered conspiracy theories about Diana's death, emphasizing that the files contained no evidence of assassination or deliberate harm. The statement framed the disclosure as both a reckoning and an opportunity for the monarchy to demonstrate honesty while honoring its history. Legal experts and palace lawyers had clearly weighed potential liabilities, and the careful language suggested they considered risks manageable. Politically, the move positioned Charles as a reforming monarch willing to confront the institution's past mistakes, appealing to advocates of transparency, but also exposing the monarchy to criticism from skeptics. The discovery of the files raised long-standing questions about who knew of their existence. They had apparently been deliberately hidden or withheld from inventories compiled after Diana's death, with palace officials, family members, security personnel, and confidants all implicated in varying degrees of silence. Figures such as Diana's former butler Paul Burrell, close friends, and palace staff had either genuinely been unaware, chosen to protect Diana's memory, or been bound by legal or ethical obligations to maintain secrecy. Some files appear to have been obtained through sympathetic protection officers, raising questions about divided loyalties and potential legal consequences for those involved. Mohammed Al-Fayed, Dodi Fayed's father, has used Diana's documented safety concerns to renew claims of conspiracies, though the files themselves do not substantiate his specific theories. Meanwhile, the Spencer family continues to navigate a delicate position regarding the revelations, reflecting the broader, complex web of secrecy and personal loyalty surrounding Diana's legacy. The discovery of Diana's hidden files has reignited questions about memory, legacy, and the monarchy's relationship with truth. Earl Spencer's eulogy in 1997 had already signaled family tensions, and whether he knew of the files and kept them secret to protect his nephews remains unclear. Likewise, the knowledge of senior royals Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip about the files is unknown, leaving a veil of secrecy over decades of palace history. Legal teams involved in Diana's divorce and estate, journalists who covered her life, and palace officials all form part of a complex network of potential witnesses or silent custodians of her secrets. For Prince William and Prince Harry, the files present a deeply personal reckoning. William must navigate the dual responsibilities of honoring his mother's memory and protecting the institution he is heir to, while Harry sees the files as confirmation of a pattern of mistreatment and institutional failure, reinforcing his critiques of royal life. Diana's meticulous documentation paints her both as a victim of palace systems and as someone actively seeking to expose their shortcomings, creating a tension between personal legacy and institutional threat. Public reactions are divided. Admirers of Diana feel vindicated, royal supporters emphasize complexity, and younger generations question the monarchy's relevance altogether. The question of what should happen to the files, how much should be released, and when remains contentious. Historians advocate for transparency, while others cite privacy and security concerns. The compromise of gradual, controlled release satisfies few, but it underscores the tension between historical accountability and personal discretion. The files also challenge the monarchy's traditional reliance on secrecy and mystique. In an era of radical transparency, the palace must find new sources of legitimacy beyond controlling information. The discovery raises questions about what other documents might remain hidden, potentially reshaping historical narratives yet again. Internationally, the revelation reverberates across the Commonwealth, other royal families, and media organizations scrutinizing institutional accountability. Ultimately, Charles's acknowledgement of the files represents both a personal and institutional test. Can the monarchy confront its past honestly without destabilizing itself? Can it balance privacy with public accountability, and tradition with the expectations of modern society? Diana's files, hidden for 27 years, forced the palace to grapple with truths it long sought to suppress. The moment is not merely about historical curiosity, it is a reckoning, a confrontation with the consequences of secrecy, and a challenge to ensure that future generations are treated with care and respect. In this, The ghost of Diana continues to shape the monarchy, demanding that the institution she once embodied for the world confront the failings of its past.